What's going on, guys? My name is Jeffrey. Welcome back to Epic Reactions, and today we're reacting to Do I Want to Know and How Arctic Monkeys Broke America, new British canon. So this video is recommended to me. I've done a couple of maybe 2 or 3 Arctic Monkeys videos, and it seems like they're super big. I don't even know, man. I didn't even know they were people. So yeah, this is going to be super interesting. I wanted kind of like a backstory of who they were and kind of how they came about, because I know nothing about them. I thought this would be a really cool video to do. So yeah, if you're new here, definitely subscribe button, click the like button, check my Patreon if you want to support the channel further. I hope everyone has a great day out there, and yeah, let's check this out. Damn, this is old.
Every British band,
that's the Beatles, that's why,
since the Beatles, has seen going
I honestly didn't know until now that the Beatles were British.
Mainstream in America as a measure of supreme success. But rarely does that happen. It's a big place, and just because something appeals to UK taste doesn't mean it'll definitely cross over.
I think one of the most interesting things about UK things is when a UK thing is really good, it really does explode all over the planet, whether it be the Beatles, One Direction, Harry Potter. If something is British and it's very, very, very well done, it will explode, just explode. It's usually it'll become the biggest franchise or biggest artist on the planet so quickly. But if it's okay, then it never leaves the UK at all. You know what I mean? Where American artists, if they're okay, American artists make it all around the world pretty easily, if you know what I mean. I think UK, there's a certain if it's really good, it will break out of it. It's just super difficult to.
Some of the greatest British acts of all time haven't made a dent in the US. Cliff Richard, the Kinks, the Jam, the Stone Roses,
never heard of any of these people.
Blur, and the Libertines, all household names in Britain, but barely known in the US.
We're Arctic Monkeys. This is I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor. Don't believe the hype.
Arctic Monkeys were a band that seemed destined for this lack
by the way, I can turn off CC now because
of US appreciation. A Sheffield guitar band beloved in the UK, whose singers' insightful lyricism followed a British songwriting tradition, passed down from the Kinks' Ray Davies through Paul Weller, Morrissey, and Pulp's Jarvis Cocker. This quintessential British view on nights out, relationships, and not very good local bands ran through their 2006 debut. But references to Rotherham, the phrase Mardy Bum, and frontman Alex Turner's thick Yorkshire accent were not gonna translate internationally. But then 7 years later, they beefed up their sound, slowed down, and made the US Billboard Top 10 with Do I Wanna Know. This is New British Canon, and here's the story of how the Arctic Monkeys broke America.
See, it seems like they were super big before, 2004 to 2012. I was 12 max. In 2012 I was 12, so it's I think they were super big before I even was listening to music. I think that's why I was
Arctic
really aware of them.
Monkeys formed in Sheffield in the early 2000s, composed of guitarist-vocalist Alex Turner, guitarist Jamie Cook, drummer Matt Helders, and bassist Andy Nicholson. Previous to starting the band, none of their members had played an instrument before. But call to action by the retro rock and roll of the Strokes and their landmark Is This It album, they started a band. Their initial sound was an energetic British spin on that. With Turner's intricate and rapidly delivered lyrics, inspired by the flows of the Wu-Tang Clan and punk poet John Cooper Clarke.
Yeah, why does that look like Howard Stern?
Through MySpace, their demos gained them a sizable following, and they signed to London-based indie label Domino. This early hype got their first single, 2005's I Bet You Look Good on the Dance.
Yo, this is actually a really dope song. I did a live performance of it and them doing Glastonbury. It's a fire song.
Straight to #1 in the UK charts.
It is a lit song.
Then in January
Yo, did you see that? Illegal sell any under the age of 16, bro. In the United States, well, in my state of California, you have to be over 21 to buy a tobacco product. 21.
Then in January 2006, their debut album, Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not, overtook Oasis and Elastica to become the fastest selling debut album in the UK. The week it was released, Enemy writers voted it the 5th best British album of all time, beating London Calling and Revolver. Despite being a very big deal in the UK, their appeal in the US was limited. This was not helped by the band not wanting to do
MTV.
press, award shows, and the usual promotional ephemera.
Come on, be excited. It's supposed to be like the next big thing.
Well, it's supposed to be, but probably aren't.
In an interview with Rolling
was
Stone in
not in the mood.
2013, Cook and Helders defended their unwillingness to play the game. But we were teenagers then. Maybe we would have won a Grammy by now if we hadn't been so stubborn. But no regret. Rather than spend time touring America to build their profile, they instead dove straight into album number 2, Favorite Worst.
I really respect that. I think so many artists like literally could like hold themselves to, if they're not big in America, so many labels do it too to their artists. If they're not big in America, then like none of this matters and we're not actually that good. Like Americans are this just like gods of everything, where that's just really, it's like the same way in movies though. I don't know how America was able to convince everyone that we are the ultimate deciders of what's good or not, but somehow America has convinced everybody in this world that Americans can decide and will decide if something is good or not. And so many artists and movie directors, everything, hold themselves to that standard, and then then like they just get depressed and just sad because they never break into America. And I don't know how this happened, but I respect them for not being like, oh, it doesn't matter how we do in America, as long as we're doing good here and like in UK or wherever else, then I'm happy with that, instead of going this extra mile just to please Americans, which I definitely understand. I respect that, actually.
Worst Nightmare. Around this time, Nicholson left the band to be replaced by Nick O'Malley.
Oh,
Again,
damn.
it was a British #1 album, but with even less attention in
What
the
is
US.
going on there?
For their 3rd album, Humbug, they moved out to Rancho de la Luna in Joshua Tree, California, and with the help from co-producer Queens of the Stone Age's Josh Homme, the band were able to really lean into a slower, sludgier version of their sound. This can be heard on the album's lead single, Crying Lightning. About Homme, Turner stated, "He's got a charm. He can persuade you to do things. We'd never done slow, heavy rock songs. It was a different world to us. I don't know if we'd have gone there if it hadn't been for Josh. He used to tell us, it's harder to play slow." After their Pixies
I can
indebted
see,
fourth
especially for a rock band, I can see how playing slower is you probably feel super weird.
album, 2011,
Feels super
Suck
weird.
It and See. During spring 2012, Arctic Monkeys supported the Black Keys on their El Camino tour. But beforehand, they recorded something new so they'd have some fresh material. Namely, the standalone single, Are You Mine? Based on a riff that
Are you
O'Malley had
mine?
written, the track went harder than anything they'd previously
It
recorded.
does go hard. It does go hard.
While its lyricism and flow was influenced by modern hip-hop. Lil Wayne and Drake. We've been listening to a lot of their stuff recently. I like that thing they do where they talk about something backwards. So they talk about it, and then they say what it actually is in the next line. So I say, I'm a puppet on a string, just before mentioning Tracy Island.
That's
it turned
so
out
sick that they got inspiration from Lil Wayne and Drake. Literally two of my favorite artists. Drake by far is my favorite artist of all time. That's so dope, man. I did not expect that in this
Are
video.
You Mine was just a warm-up for what would feature on their next album.
Hey, this song is... I did Are You Mine and Do I Want to Know. It seems like these two are their biggest songs by far. 2013, Aaliyah, Dr. Dre. Oh, did Dr. Dre help them produce it? That's dope if that's what that is.
As the Black Keys tour was their first they'd ever done where they weren't the headliner, the band quickly learned they needed to up their game in a live setting. Just playing their songs with teenaged energy wasn't gonna win over a disinterested US crowd. Due to this, Turner's stage persona evolved, moving further from the
Yeah, it's really not, dude. Americans are so weird, man. Americans, if it's like not American, it's like people are really weird about it. I don't know, man. I don't know. But like certain things like Harry Potter, One Direction, the Beatles, they'll be like, they'll hop all over. It's really cool. It's really cool. But if it's something else, they're like, no, No, only American stuff. Only.
Shy Sheffield lad of 2006 with his guitar up to his chest, and into a definite rock star with swagger, a killer teddy boy hairdo, and actual slick attire.
So that's why he went to that style. I was wondering when I did the older performance and then what he looked like now. I was like, what is going on? Why is he just not? Okay, that makes sense.
Also,
now.
by this time, 3 of the Arctic Monkeys were living in LA, riding motorcycles and dating
Damn,
models. But they needed more songs that reflected this
They got
change.
that American lifestyle.
That strutted rather than ramshackled. Bassist O'Malley bluntly recalled the band wanted to avoid the same old indie bullshit. Written early in their new album sessions back at Rancho de la Luna with co-producer Ross Orton, Do I Wanna Know was the first moment that achieved this.
Have you got color in your cheeks?
Such a good song.
I guess we turned a corner with Do I Wanna Know. We had this idea for a record where you take the compositional perspective of an R&B producer and apply that to a 4-piece rock and roll band, manipulating our instruments to make building blocks for the songs in a way I would imagine Timbaland constructs music. This building block approach of recording Do I Wanna Know began with the recording of the backbeat, a mixture of drums, hand claps and foot stomps, before fleshing out the rest of the song. The influence from Timbaland is also present on the backing vocals, i.e. O'Malley and Helders, or as Turner referred to them in the AM press tour, the Space Choir Boys. On the track, rather than shouty call and response backups present on older tracks, their vocals are R&B velvet smooth, adopting an almost falsetto while dipping in and out of the mix for emphasis, similar to the vocals in Timbaland's work with Aaliyah. People like Aaliyah, there's real craft on those singles. We like the scales and the melodies on some of those records, the way the backing vocals might come right to the front and disappear again. But the Space Choir Boys were almost not present on the recorded version of the song. LA band Haim were originally asked if they would sing on the track, but due to them being deep in the process of concocting their own brand of hard rock flecked R&B on their debut, Days Are Gone, they had to decline. Said SD Haim, "We didn't have enough time to come in and learn the harmonies. It would have taken a couple of days. That would have been our biggest dream come true, to sing on an Arctic Monkeys record. It was one of the most painful calls to say no. Maybe the worst day of my life." Along with Timbaland, the band have also stated the importance of the beats and bass on Dr. Dre's 2001 album.
Yo, legendary song.
As well as the rock elements of Ziggy era David Bowie.
I've actually never really listened to David. Maybe I've heard like one song, but I've never really hopped into David Bowie before. I really need to though. I think I do. I need to do like a Beatles album reaction also. I think I need to hop into the Beatles also. They definitely both David Bowie and Beatles definitely deserve to be listened to by me.
The central riff on Do I Wanna Know was written and recorded by Turner on a 12-string Vox Starstream, which gives the lumbering, almost Sabbath-like riff a fuller, meatier sound. Said longtime Arctic Monkeys producer James Ford, "I think he actually bought it as a bit of a joke, but I think it actually turned into a bit of an inspirational instrument. A lot of the riffs on AM were written on that particular guitar."
So have you got the goods?
Despite a sonic shift for the band, at its core, lyrically, there was limited evolution. Since the beginning, Turner's mind has rarely strayed from writing about the women he loves, lusts, and longs after. When questioned about this by Esquire, he stated, "I write about women, yes. I haven't found a way around it yet. There are other things I eventually might get round to writing about. In a sense, they're about girls. But in a sense, they're about loneliness and longing."
I'm sure it's, I feel like that doesn't really matter though. I mean, it's just however you're feeling. I'm sure just, that's just how his brain kind of like, that's what makes him sad or makes him feel lonely. That's that kind of thing, whatever. whatever he's affected by, that's like the main thing that gives him this feeling. So it's just what he wants to, what just comes out when he writes. I doubt it's on purpose, like, oh, I have to write about girls. It's literally just what happens, man. It's just it's just what happens.
Do I Wanna Know continues this trend, its title questioning whether to continue pining over an ex-partner and the emotional uncertainty involved, mirroring the similarly unsure Are You Mine? Pitchfork writer Larry Fitzmaurice compared the song
Marvin's
to
Room,
Drake's
bro.
Marvin's Room,
His best
another
song he's
track
ever
where
done.
the protagonist is longing after an ex-partner, and so he, intoxicated, calls her to try and get answers.
I'm just
Saying you could do better.
Turner retorted, because his tune's about getting drunk and calling it.
I love these guys so much more, man. I love these guys so much. I'm doing one of these albums like this week. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. The fact that they're getting inspiration from some of my favorite artists and the way he's like describing them, and just, this is sick, man. This is
His
sick.
old bird. I'm sure Drake and I aren't the only people to have done that though. Those reflections, especially when shit-faced, about what could have been, and the grey area between longing and lusting after a memory, are fertile ground for pop music, as it is such a universal experience.
We all go through like missing that, you know what I mean? We all go through that.
One thing that especially UK fans feared, now that Turner was a resident of LA instead of his native Sheffield, is that his iconic accent would escape him, while nowhere near the syllable-chewing delight of tracks like From the Ritz to the Rubble. Do I Wanna Know still momentarily throws back to where he came from in the song's first verse,
the tide that sticks around like summits in your teeth.
proving that you can take the man out of Yorkshire, but you can't take Yorkshire out of the man. Most covers of the
True.
track change it to the
Shout out
less
Yorkshire.
regional something.
The type that sticks around
I need to check out a Hozier album also, man.
like something in your teeth.
He deserves an album listen too.
The tie that sticks around
You know how I
like
do these people are.
something in your teeth.
Aside from Dua Lipa, who commits
Dua-
to the
Bro, Dua Lipa, is that really how you pronounce it? I've always said Dua Lipa. That's Dua Lipa? There's no shot it's Dua Lipa. There's really?
dialect word.
The
I don't think
type
so.
that sticks around like summits in your teeth.
That rock and roll, eh?
Do I Wanna Know secured its place in the British rock pantheon when Arctic Monkeys headlined Friday
Yeah,
night at Glastonbury
this went lit. This
2013.
performance went lit.
At this point, the song had barely been released a fortnight, but in an act of sheer arrogance, the band opened with it. A field of onlookers chanted the riff back in unison, a ritual that would continue for each future live appearance.
God, the guitar on it, man. The guitar
Beyond
is
being
insane.
an out eternal football chant, the riff was placed at number 3 of Guitar World's best guitar riffs of the decade. Now here's a lesson in how space can make a riff pop, and heck, give it a sense of the profound. Do I Wanna Know also became the Arctic Monkeys' biggest hit in the UK since 2007's Fluorescent Adolescent,
Bro, what is going on in that performance, by the
peaking
way?
out at number 11 in the singles chart. But as a bigger achievement, the single reached the top of the US Billboard Alternative charts and remained on the chart for 48 weeks. Their previous entry on the alternative charts, I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor, had only managed to reach number 7 in 2006. And while their greater focus on publicity didn't win them a Grammy, in 2015, Do I Wanna Know was at least nominated for Best Rock Performance. The song's parent album, AM, arrived in September 2013. With its release, Arctic Monkeys became the first ever independently released group to score 5 consecutive UK #1 albums.
Wow,
in the US,
that's impressive.
it became
That's really
their
impressive.
proper breakthrough, reaching the top 10
Proper.
of the Billboard chart. Finally, the Arctic Monkeys had broken America, but they did much more than that. With Do I Wanna Know, they signaled that rock music wasn't dead. The crowning ceremony in British popular music, the Brit Awards, greeted them with praise. Similar to every other year that the Arctic Monkeys had released
That's
music.
so sick. Well, they won album of the year. Yeah, I think that's been the craziest thing is the past, like, what, 15 years, you'd say? The rock music has basically just been gone. It's just turned to pop or hip-hop, basically. Or K-pop, I guess. The 3 pops, basically, of the world. Hip-hop, pop, K-pop. has just been dominating everything for the past like 15 years. So it's kind of sad where rock music has gone. You know what I mean? Like these traditional bands aren't really a thing anymore.
They had had a fractious relationship with the award show, having not attended and got We Are Scientists Keith Murray to say a few words when they won Best Breakthrough Act in 2006. Then varyingly accepted the accolades dressed as the Village People, the cast of The Wizard of Oz, and some Yorkshire farmers. 2014 was no different. When collecting the prize for Best British Album for AM, Turner delivered the following speech, edited for length and clarity.
That rock and roll, it just won't go away. Might hibernate from time to time and sink back into the swamp. But it's always waiting there just around the corner, ready to make its way back through the sludge and smash through the glass ceiling, looking better than ever.
It's gonna make its comeback.
Roll, it seems like it's fading away sometimes. It will never die.
True, man.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
In 2014, Arctic
That must have felt good to win album of the year, especially as a rock band.
seemed like the last rock band standing. For Best British Band, which they also won, they were up against the electronic-focused likes of Bastille and Disclosure, as well as One Direction. Not a single loud, distorted guitar between them. As arrogant and or drunk as he may have seemed, Alex Turner was pointing out something that became more obvious as the decade wore on. Though rock music isn't as prevalent as it once was, Arctic Monkeys' Do I Wanna Know is proof that guitar-based music can exist and be loved in a modern musical climate. It just needs to try something new, challenge itself, and know what makes rock exciting. It's not that hard. Turner chose to write their follow-up, Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino, solely on
I've heard really good things about this album,
a
actually.
piano, leaving rock behind. But the
Wow,
next
so they
wave
did
is
leave.
just around the corner,
They did leave rock.
ready to make its way through the sludge,
This fool just said, you just left it. I didn't
looking
expect
better
that.
than ever.
Yo, what is
And
that?
there's nothing you can do about it.
That's crazy. They just left it up by. I did not know that. That's actually super interesting. So, what would you guys say the first album I should check out? I'll check out, of course, Tranquility because it's the newest one. But what's like the first album I should check out? Let me know in the comments below. But yeah, this was a really interesting video about just like their journey to who they are now, what they are now. So that's gonna do it. Enjoyed. If you're new here, subscribe, click the like button. I hope everyone has a great day out there, and I'll see you on the next one.